Stiff movement is a motor control issue. It is our nervous systems or our brains creating unnecessary tension or clenching as we move around. And the way our brains organize movement is that we first take in a bunch of sensory inputs. Then we use that information to spit out a movement output. And then through that movement output, new sensations will arise. So our brain takes in more sensory inputs, and it just loops like that infinitely. So in order to rewire our brains to move with more smoothness and less stiffness, we have to become better at feeling and understanding certain types of sensory input. And when it comes to trying to cultivate smooth movement, sensory inputs like body awareness, balance, and rhythm are three of the most important, although you should absolutely know that there are an almost infinite number of sensory inputs out there, from visual to vestibular inputs to pressure, tension, etc., etc. The list goes on. But again, for the purposes of cultivating smooth movement, I have found that body awareness, balance, and rhythm are three of the most important. So I'll quickly break down exactly, in practical terms, how body awareness, balance, and rhythm actually produces smoother movement so that you actually understand the method behind the madness. And then after that, I'll guide you through a quick 10-minute exercise that improves on all three of those qualities that, if you do consistently, will for sure lead to smoother movement. You have to do it consistently though, because it takes a long time for us to cultivate a better sense or feel for certain forms of sensory input. Body awareness is the ability to feel and understand where your body parts are in space and in relation to one another. When your body awareness is poor, it's like your brain has an incomplete map or GPS to drive your body around. Kind of like last time you were at the dentist and you got anesthetized in your jaw, and you probably had a really difficult time speaking because when your brain was trying to organize speech, it could not feel where in space your jaw facial bones were or where they were in relation to one another. Balance is the ability to manage your center of mass over your base of support, or in other words, the ability to manage your weight or your body weight over your feet. What happens when your balance is poor is that when your weight begins to shift outside of your brain's perceived outer limits of your feet, a stumble reflex is initiated from the spinal cord, which causes your muscles to reflexively clench up. So if you have subpar balance, you're essentially moving around all day, every day, half clenched up because you cannot feel where your weight is in relation to your feet. Now, very practically, the way that we improve balance, and I'll discuss this in the exercise tutorial in a bit, but the way we improve our balance practically is by feeling our foot pressures, because our foot pressures will tell us exactly where our body weight is sitting over top of our feet. And once again, balance is the ability to manage our weight over our feet. Rhythm, at least in a movement context, is the ability to cultivate alternating phases of relative contraction and relative relaxation to a predictable cadence. When your rhythm is poor, what ends up happening is that you muscularly squeeze your way through all of the movements that you do because you can't feel the rhythm. And as you improve on your rhythm, you end up having an easier time cultivating more relaxation in all of the movements that you do. The smoother your movement is, the better your rhythm is.